Awesome. Hello again, friends, and welcome to another Early Learning Live here with Arizona Science Center. I'm Maverick, and today we're going to be taking you through the true story behind the big bad wolf and the three little pigs. And a lot of you probably heard the story of, the big bad wolf that came and huffed and puffed and blew their houses in, all three little pigs. But every story has two sides. And today we're going to see the story from the wolf's point of view. And we're going to see how he recalls the situation. And then we're going to build our very own little houses using recycled materials, anything that you can find around the house, to try to build our own home that would be able to withstand some huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. So the name of our book is The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. It is told by John Ciska and illustrated by Lane Smith. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Ooh. I'm the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Look at that, so he's got cheeseburgers, right? He just eats what he's supposed to eat, right? So, maybe the wolf isn't so big and bad. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Oh boy, so apparently the story starts with sugar and sneezes. Way back in once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. He's just making a cake for his granny, and he ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? Would you build your house out of straw? That doesn't seem like it would stand up too well. So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, and that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed. Oh, he huffed, and he snuffed. And I sneezed a great sneeze. Oh, look at that big sneeze. Oh no, I think he might have accidentally blew the pig's house down. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. He was just trying to be nice, right? The little pig was just hanging out, and that'd be a waste of the ham dinner to the wolf. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin. So that house is made of sticks, and the big bad wolf is coming to check him out. Just the wolf, just Al, right? Not the big bad wolf. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. Oh, another sneeze, and he accidentally blew that pig's house down too. And there was the other little pig, just hanging out. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again. Oh, the wolf was just trying to see if the pig was home. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Ooh. That pig was being so mean to the wolf. He was just trying to get sugar for his granny. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. Oh no, the cop showed up and he was just, the other pig was kind of mean to him, so that's all he was doing. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. Look at the news articles talking about how he's this big bad wolf. But according to his story, it doesn't sound like he was too bad here. But maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar? And that's the real story, the true story of the three little pigs, according to the wolf. So, in that story, he came across three houses, right? And the first two houses, all he had to do was sneeze and it blew him right down, which means they probably weren't built too well. So we're going to try to build our very own house using recycled materials. And by recycled materials, I mean materials that you're done using for what they were made to be used for, but they can still be used for something else that maybe they weren't originally made to be used for. So some things I have here, I have an empty box of tissues, you know. This is probably the wolf's empty box of tissues because he was sneezing so much he probably used all the tissues. So these are just things I found around my house. So I got an empty box of tissues right here. I've got an egg carton, half of an egg carton, that I already did a little bit of stuff to. I cut some of the holes out in the middle there. I'll show you what I want to use that for later. I got some newspaper. I've got some of the parts that I cut out from the egg carton. Then I got some cardboard from an old box that from when I ordered something last week that I cut up into smaller pieces to make it more manageable. But you can use whatever you want. And I want you at home, when you're collecting your materials, to think about what might be better at withstanding a big sneeze from a wolf or a fan or something. What do you think materials might be stronger? What might be weaker? What might be easier to build with or harder to build with? And then you can build your very own house. But we're just going to spend a couple minutes here trying to build a house and seeing what we can build. So the first thing you want to do whenever you're engineering, whenever you're doing anything, is you want to go through what I'm going to use a really fancy word here called iterations. Now, iterations are basically, you're going to build whenever you want to build anything, something big or whatever it is, you want to start small. You want to start with the basics and make sure that works. And then the next iteration is making the next thing that works. So you're going to add stuff to it. So if I want to build a house, the first thing I want to have is the foundation. So the ground, right? I want to make sure that it will stand. So to do that, let's see. What do I want to do for my ground? I'm just going to have a couple pieces of box here. And I'm going to stand them up, and we're going to see if we can make them stand. Now, I could use things like tape if I wanted to. I could use, I don't know, whatever. I could use clothespins, paper clips, whatever you want to use. But I'm going to see if I can make them stand without using any tape. That's going to be my challenge for you. So, right here, I've got a couple walls. And you can see how I'm making it stand is by bending the wall a little bit. So if it was flat, right? It's going to fall over. But if it's bent a little bit, it can stand without other support. But then I can add things later on if I wanted to. So this is my floor, and these are my walls. Okay, so I've got my foundation, right? I've got the beginning. What's the next thing I should add? How about a roof? Let's build a roof. And I'm going to build my roof out of this egg carton. Now, the reason I cut holes, and you can see the holes, I can kind of see you through the camera. You can see, the reason I cut these holes right here is because if I'm going to put these on my roof, if I'm going to make these a roof, it's like having a sunroof. It's like having windows on the top. So some of your houses might have windows on the very top, right, that let light in to make the house a lot brighter, right? Or some might have windows on the side or wherever. Some might not have windows, and that's all okay. Every house is different. So you'll see while I'm trying to do this, what I just realized is it's a little too short for that, right? So maybe I can adjust my foundation, and that's why we go through iterations, right? We want to make sure that they work. So now it's going to be long. So I've got a longer house instead of a wider house now, which means that my roof should be able to fit right on top. So now I've got two walls and a roof. What else should I add? How about, what is something that you use to get into your house? Do you just jump through the wall? Do you just dive through the window? Probably not. You might. I mean, I'm not going to judge. I don't know. You might. But I use a door most of the time when I'm getting into a house. So I'm going to build a door. And the way I'm going to do that is, you see my little Kleenex box here, my little tissue box, has this opening. And I've got these fancy little things. I cut some of the plastic to make it look like an easy kind of door to get through. And so I'm going to take the top off of this box. Just cut that part off, and we're going to see if we can do it without using the scissors. And we'll take just this little top section here with the door part. And you can use scissors if you want to. I'm just not using scissors because I'm trying to be, this is my little personal challenge. This is what I'm trying to do, but it's okay. You can do whatever you want to do. So, I took this little part off, right? And now I've got a front door, so I can put that right up front right here, and we can see if we can make it stand up. And now, my house has two side walls. It has a roof with windows on top, and it has a front door, but my back is still open. So let's see. We can put a back door up too. We could use the rest of this, actually, or part of this as a back door. And now I have a nice tiny little house, just like the wolf might have gone up to one of the pig's houses or something. It's got a front door, it's got a roof, it's got everything, it's got all the things that we need to have a house, right? It's got something with shelter to keep you protected. Now, the best question is, let's see if it could survive a wolf sneeze, or somebody blowing. So if you had a fan, or if you just want to use your mouth, we're going to see if we can blow this house over. And I don't know if it's going to stand. We're all going to find out together. Ready? Huff and snuff. Oh no. My house fell down. But that's okay, right? So that's what we talk about, our iterations. So I'm going to get to work trying to build it and make it stronger, but we can try to figure out, and I want you to think about it at home, what are some things that maybe I could have done different? Maybe there's better shapes. Maybe there's other materials, right? Maybe heavier materials would work to make a stronger house. Just like in the book, the straw is really light and easy to blow down, but the brick is really heavy and it's a lot harder to move, so maybe heavier materials would work. But I'm going to get started doing all of this, but we're not going to do that on camera. I want you guys to make all of your awesome houses at home with any materials you can find and share those photos because I want to see what your super cool houses are doing. Maybe you can have a 2-floor house. Maybe you can have a super wide house. Maybe you can have a backyard. All kinds of different things you can do with your house. But thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend. For more of our awesome content, go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We have, hopefully, as long as weather permits, we're hopefully have our SpaceX launching today at I think 12:33, I believe. So we'll be live streaming that. So please go ahead and follow that. And go ahead and just follow us on all the cool things. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming for you all. Have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you so much, guys. Bye, everyone.